Alright, welcome back. So in this lecture we're going to be setting up the pickaxe equipable and importing the pickaxe mesh. So let's go ahead and get started. So what you want to do is head over to the lecture notes and download the project files for this lecture. So we have this stone pickaxe model and textures. So go ahead and download and extract the files and go over to your main meshes equipables, and inside there go ahead and drag the stone pickaxe.fbx. Make sure all these settings are the default. Set the create new materials to do not create material, since we'll create our own. Just click import all, and no smoothing group information found. That's okay, we can ignore that, close out of there. And for our materials here, we'll go ahead and drag in all these materials, textures, in the materials folder, and we can just click OK on these little notifications. So we need to go ahead and create a material for these textures. So create a new material, name this to m_stone pick master. And then right click on the graph and add a texture sample parameter 2D, and we'll name this to base color. And take this, and instead of hooking it up to the base color, what we're going to do is multiply and drag off of the B and add a vector parameter, and this will be and we can name this tint. So this will allow us to change the tint of our material here. Hook that up for the base color. And then for our normal, go ahead and just copy this param 2D. And we need to rename this, so rename this to normal map and hook that up to the normal. And we need to set a default normal map, because if we don't, we get this little weird inverted texture. So select the normal map parameter and set the default texture. Set it to this default normal, that's totally fine. Just anything other than a normal texture. So we can go ahead and save that. It will compile all the shaders. Close out of that, and we can right click, create material instance, stone pick 01, and duplicate that, stone pick 02, and duplicate it again. So we just need 3 of these. So now just shift select all 3 of these materials, right click and click edit. So that will just pull them all up here. So for our first one, we'll select this pickaxe low poly 002 and select the base color, set it to that. And for the normal map, we'll set this to our pickaxe low poly 002 normal and set it like so. And so for our tint, if you click the little tint here, we can have a little color wheel, which will allow us to change the color. So for this one, we can just set this to a grayish color, sort of like that. I believe this will be like the cloth on the stone pickaxe handle. Then the stone pick 02 material, base color, normal map, and tint. Go ahead and select this pickaxe low poly 002 and set the base color as well as this normal map like so. And for the tint, set this to white. So maybe this is the actual cloth material. You can see the little cloth pieces right there. Save that. And then the last one, add the base color, normal map, and tint. So this will be this brown material right here. I believe this is the wood, so go ahead and select the normal map as well and assign it like so. And for the tint of this, we'll add sort of this tan or brown material tint, and go ahead and save that. And so now we can go ahead and open up our stone pickaxe mesh. So for our first material, we can look up stone pick 02. So the first one is stone pick 02, so you can see it adds this little cloth or rope around the pick. Then we have the next material, look for stone pick 03, so that's the wooden handle. The last one we'll look for stone pick 01, so that's actual stone. Okay, so it should look like something like this, and you can mess around with the material tints if you want to change the wood to be a little bit darker, but I think this should do for now. So now that we have a little model there, we can go into our content, main, blueprints, items, and we can go ahead and set up our items class for our pickaxe. So in our equipables, in our tools, we're going to right click and create a new folder for pickaxe. And for our pickaxe class, what we're going to do is we're going to create child blueprints of this BP TP hatchet and a child blueprint of this BP FP hatchet. And the reason why we're going to do this is because inside of this hatchet, you already have this harvest foliage function, and basically it's going to have the same sort of logic. The hatchet and the pickaxe are essentially the same sort of item, and we're going to modify the harvesting foliage function to return either more or less resources based on if this is a hatchet or a pickaxe. Okay, so rather than redo all that logic, we can just use the same parent class and inherit all that functionality. So just right click this BP TP hatchet, create blueprint, child class, and name this to BP underscore TP underscore stone pickaxe, and drag that and move that into the pickaxe folder. Then right click this BP FP hatchet, create child blueprint class, and just name this BP underscore FP underscore stone pickaxe, and drag that and move that to the pickaxe folder. So if we go ahead and go into that folder, we can open up the stone pickaxe, and for the static mesh we can set it to our stone pickaxe model. Compile, save that, and open up our first person class, select the static mesh and set that to our stone pickaxe. Compile, save that, and so the item class is all set up. The last thing that we need to do is add it as an item to our data table. So go to our data tables, DT items, and we can just duplicate this stone hatchet. So right click this row and click duplicate. Change the row name here. So expand this, change the row name to 3, and make sure we change the item ID to be 3 as well. The item quantity can be 1, and for the icon we need to go ahead and actually import this icon. And so in the project files you should also have this stone pickaxe JPEG image. Let's go to your main, widgets, textures, item icons, and just drag this and import it right in there. And so now we can go ahead and select that stone pickaxe item icon, set the name to stone pickaxe. You can leave the description as is, the item damage, and pretty much all the same settings. The only thing we need to change here is our item class reference. We want to click the drop down and set it to our BP TP stone pickaxe, okay? And then we can go ahead and save that. And so technically we can go ahead and test this out. So if you go into your main blueprints, first person character, We can go to our little spawn item debug. We can set this to item number 3, which is our stone pickaxe. So if we hit play here, we can go ahead and spawn that in. And it looks like we forgot to set up the socket that it will attach to. So we'll go ahead and set it up to the same socket that we used for our hatchet. And also the icon is appearing as white because I think we need to save the icon first. Okay, access none, trying to read property, attach actor to component. So that's because we didn't set up a socket. So to set up that socket, let's go to our items, equipables, tools, pickaxe, BP, TP, stone pickaxe. And in this default settings here, or if you click open full blueprint editor and the class defaults, we have the socket name. We'll name this to tool socket. We're also going to be using the same animations, the hatchet, but if you wanted to, you could create your own additional animation state. Like you can create your own pickaxe animations, but we're going to use the same animations. And we also need to set the first person equipped class. That's also something that I missed. So we need to set that to our BPFP stone pickaxe. And the last thing that we need to do is save our item icon. So in our widgets, textures, item icon, let's do a file, save all. And save our data table just in case. Let's go ahead and play test this now. So click R, we spawn that in. It's attached to our hand in the same position or same socket as our hatchet. And you can see we now have that little icon showing because we saved it. And technically it's going to have all the same logic as our hatchet. So we'll go ahead and in our next lecture what we'll do is we're going to work on adding the different logic for our pickaxe item and also add that additional advanced harvesting logic so that we can calculate how many resources should we get based on what tool we're using, the tier of that tool, and additional things like server harvesting rates. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next lecture.